can't tell how someone feels just by looking at them or what they share online. To the outside world, our lives may look perfect, even if in reality they aren't. I'm always worrying about doing well at school, and with the end of year test coming up, I'm not sure how much longer I can cope. My thoughts swarm around my head, sometimes keeping me up all night. Some days it's just all too much, and I feel like I'm lost in space. When I did badly on one of my tests, I just about kept it together until I got home. Then I broke down crying in front of my mum. She listened for a bit, and then she told me that just like physical health, we all have mental health. It's our feelings, our thinking, our emotions, and our moods. She then said that feeling down, angry, and stressed is a normal part of life, just like it's normal to feel happy, confident, and carefree sometimes. We all have positive and negative emotions that come and go based on what's happening around us. These are everyday feelings. Good mental health means experiencing negative emotions. It's not always about being happy. Mum can relate to the feelings of stress. So when Mum suggested I take a break from everything and do something I enjoy, I actually took her advice. So I made myself a hot chocolate, snuggled up in a duvet and watched a film. And you know what? Afterwards I felt so much better. Mum should take her own advice.
Most of us only ever share the good things. We don't like to share how we really feel. Every morning when I wake up, negative thoughts stream through my head. Getting out of bed and pretending I'm okay takes all the energy I have. As the day goes on, the negative thoughts turn from a stream into a river. The water rushes through my head so loudly it's hard to concentrate in lessons. And some days it's so bad it feels like a waterfall that's trying to pull me over the edge. Everything is so overwhelming. I didn't think my friends would understand if I told them how down I was feeling. But when Sasha opened up to me about how stressed she was feeling, I told her. I wasn't sure how to bring up how I'd been feeling, so I started by saying that I didn't feel like myself. Just her listening made me feel like she understood. She told me some things that had helped her, so I tried them too. But it didn't make much of a difference. Even when I tried to be around my friends, I felt alone. The things I used to enjoy weren't fun anymore.
I was really worried about Andre and not sure what to do. He was quiet and wasn't hanging out with us like he used to do. So I asked our head of year for some advice. He suggested I get Andre to speak to him since his negative feelings weren't going away.
I didn't want to speak to our head of year, but I also didn't want to keep feeling so down, so I went. He said that sometimes we have overwhelming feelings that can be more intense than our everyday feelings. These feelings hang around for a long time and change the way we feel, think, and behave. They can stop us doing what we want to in life. That's what I was going through. He also said that if we're physically unwell, we let people know, we ask for help. It should be no different with mental health. Sometimes our overwhelming feelings are brought on because of things in our life. Sometimes they happen for no reason at all. After hearing this, I felt much less alone and it felt good to talk. Scientists have found exercise can help when feeling low. So our head of year encouraged me to sign up to the school football club, which Sasha was already in. I still have days when the river is there. But now I'm beginning to understand my mental health and learning how to cope. Our head of year reminded me that my friends, family, teachers, and lots of others at school are there to help just as much as he is. I had no idea that people around me could be so understanding. And while it's not always easy to talk about my mental health, the person I'm talking to might be able to help. If you don't feel like talking, that's fine. You could try writing, sports, reading, art, music, playing with your pet, whatever makes you feel better.
If you're the person that someone talks to when they're struggling, just listen with no pressure or judgments. You don't have to have the answer. If you feel unsure about anything, you can speak to a trusted adult. Talking about mental health doesn't have to be difficult. After all, it's something we all have.
Parenting and mental illness. How are the children doing? 4 out of every 10 people in the Netherlands will have a mental illness at some point in their lives. Being ill in general has a drastic effect, whether that means heart problems, diabetes, or mental illness. Mental illnesses impact many aspects of life, such as work, social life, and especially family life. Mental illnesses can be difficult to talk about, particularly if the people surrounding you don't understand the illness. If one or both of the parents are mentally ill, it almost always impacts the life of their child. To prevent the child from developing problems, it is crucial to help children understand what's going on at home. To show this, let's take a look at the family of Tim and Ellen and their children. Rose, who is 14, and Jason, who is 11. Tim, the father, has been suffering from depression for a long time. These depressive periods mean that he can sometimes be very introverted. He can't give his family the attention he'd like. A few weeks ago, Rose came home with a good report, but Tim said nothing about it. This made Rose sad. She had tried her very best so she could cheer her father up with the good results. Jason is disappointed that his father no longer wants to watch him play soccer, and he doesn't understand why. There are lots of families who will recognize these kinds of problems. Parents often find it hard to talk about their mental illnesses with their children, usually because they don't want them to worry. Sometimes they don't know what to tell children, or whether to tell them about the illness at all. So they refrain from discussing the matter. Yet children need explanations, so they understand that it isn't their fault or their parents' fault, but that it is the illness causing the parent to behave in a certain manner. Rose could understand better that her father is proud of her, but sometimes can't translate it into words. Similarly, Jason would be able to ask if his father would like to watch him play soccer once he's feeling better. Starting a conversation about a parent's mental illness can be complicated. Professionals who are treating parents with mental illnesses can help. They can give parents guidance in beginning such a conversation. In addition, they can ensure that discussing parenting and the well-being of children is a standard part of treatment. This benefits not only the children, but also the parents. This video was made on behalf of the University Center Psychiatry, University Medical Center Groningen.
Facing colleges, it's all.
So this is for all of you. Help me help parents watching right now who have teenagers. They're really worried about them. And they can't tell if they're just a little sad, a little blue, a little tired, or really are showing some signs of something that could be more than that. How should parents approach their kids?
Well, I know that when I got approached with the idea of therapy, it was in a calm, not like invasive space. So definitely sitting your child down, making sure that they know that they still love them and they will still care about them. But introducing it slowly, saying like, oh, there's a person I want you to meet, or oh, I think we should start, openly communicating with the idea of therapy. Or even just going on YouTube and looking up, like, what a therapy session could look like. And making sure that the child definitely feels comfortable so we don't create another environment where a whole other generation goes with thinking that you're either crazy or not crazy.
Right. Wow, that's great. Well said. Chris, what about you?
I mean, I think that the most important thing for parents would be to be compassionate, right? To kind of try to understand that we come from a different time than they do, and that all these problems necessarily aren't as bad as some might make them seem, right? And I also think that something that's super important is that, like, at least personally, right, I was very anti-therapy at the beginning, right? When my parents first came to me and they told me about this, I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And I think that that's something important for parents to accept. But then later on, like I kind of came around to the idea, kind of got adjusted to it, and I thought it would be a good idea. So I think that that parents should kind of approach their kids with this, but I definitely don't think that it should be something that's forced. Because the second that you force therapy or you force someone to do it like this, they're going to completely close off, and it's not going to help at all, right? And then at that point, we're talking about like the spending of the money. You're just spending money for nothing at that point, right? You're not benefiting from it. You're not getting anything out of it. So I think that the most important thing is that it should be a kid's choice on whether they want to get therapy or not.
I think it's well said, and then adding on what Lana said, do it in an environment that's safe and that's loving. It's like, hey, look, there's somebody you can go and talk to. Just try it. The experience might be fun. You might walk out of there feeling actually amazing and seen and heard and not awkward. So I think that's good advice. While I have all three of you, I just would be remiss if I just didn't ask, what else? Like, what else can we do for Gen Z? I mean, this TikTok therapy is a whole revelation for me, and I hope it helps people watching. Is there anything else we're missing that as older generations that we can do to help you guys?
I would just like to add that if you're a parent, getting your child therapy is not a mark of you failing as a parent.
Great point.
I think not getting them therapy when they say, I want therapy, is a mark of failing, because, that is, like I said, maintenance. That is help to your kid, and it's preventative action so that they don't have these dark emotions dragging them down for the rest of their life. You can change your kid's life now, so just be open-minded. And maybe get on TikTok yourself if you want to see what it's about. I think we hold all these stereotypes and prejudices against things we don't know of, things that are foreign to us, but there doesn't have to be a generational gap. Just open dialogue and creating a comfortable environment and really trying to understand what your kid is going through. No other generation has really had this giant pandemic. They've had other social events impact their life, but this is something unique to us. So, trying to understand.
Wow, that's so great. Great point. Alana, what about you? What else can we do? What are we missing? Oh,
One of the things I'd like to add is that when it comes to Gen Z, not to put us in this bubble and stereotype, but the fact that everyone finds comfort and everyone finds a sense of sanity in different things. So being more acceptance of maybe them wanting to sprout out to art or a sport or even little crystals that people believe in that have power, and just religion, just being accepting of everybody as a whole, because everyone finds their sanity different. So not being like, ew, you draw, that's nerdy,
Right.
They might find their comfort and their bubble in that.
Right. And we should be accepting of those things, of course.
Yeah.
Great point. Chris, how about you? What else do you want to add? What are we missing?
Well, something that I think, this is actually something that my therapist, it was an analogy that she could use, and I think it's actually really important. I think that the older generations need to stop thinking that everything in life is going to be a right angle, that everything's just going to look perfect, it's going to be a 90-degree angle, and it's going to be perfect. But there's always going to be deviations, right? It's not just a straight path, there are going to be curves and there are going to be bumps along the road. And I think that people need to accept the fact that there are going to be difficult times and not shy away from them, not ignore them, not bury them, push them down. I think that the most important thing is to try to face these problems. And like you're saying, for parents, to just help their kids face these problems, to figure this stuff out, because it's a lot easier to kind of handle all this stuff when you're a kid than it is when you're an adult, right? So we have to worry about school and all that kind of stuff, right? But school doesn't have the same stress as a job, right? Of taking care of a family, of things like that. So if we can try to just nail these things down and help our anxieties, our depressions, our mental illnesses right now, it's going to be really helpful for everyone, not just ourselves, but our kids and people in our lives.
And you guys are all so smart, man. I have such faith in the future of this country if it's in the three of your hands. This has been so enlightening, and I'm so impressed with all three of you. And I can't thank you enough. And I hope people watching this, both parents and your own fellow peers, just also walk away with, let's just be kinder to one another. Let's just be more accepting of people's differences. Let's not judge them, and let's just, help each other out, because we're all in it together. You guys are leading the way for that. So thanks for your time.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel.
What would you do to beat the
Nazis to the atomic bomb, and if you're Pierre DuPont, who tested the world's first nuclear reactor in a squash court below a college football field. Find out what really drives innovation on the Titans that build America for an event starting Memorial Day at 9, only on the History Channel.
Imagine running a marathon, a whopping 26.2 miles on the rockiest plains in the blistering heat to make it across the finish line here. Great job! Now do it again tomorrow. You would look at them puzzled while on the verge of passing out. But yet somehow you run another marathon the next day. This time, your legs are cramping, your body is fatigued, and as you hobble across the finish line, you hear, "Awesome job!" Now do it again. Gasping for air, you reply, "I'm so tired." And ever so smoothly, you hear, "That's okay. Just push through." This is what Black women hear all the time as they continue to take on more responsibilities with less help at the destruction of their mental and physical health. In 2016, I received my doctorate, and right before this huge undertaking, I graduated the year before with my master's. I thought about taking a break in between my programs, yet I insisted upon pushing through. While working full-time as a counselor, managing quality time with my husband, and raising our 2 young babies, it was a lot to cope with, to say the least. Yet, I persisted and pushed through. At one cohort meetup, I was exhausted, drained, tired, and discouraged. With teary eyes, I mustered up enough courage to be vulnerable and open up about how difficult it's been to juggle all this purpose on my plate. And this plate was piled high. Kids, husband, job, school, church, community. Immediately, my professor and peers chimed in and replied, "You got this, Keita. This is no sweat. You'll be fine. It's normal. You got that black girl magic." They gave me motivation. Or was it? Motivation is the process of stimulating people to actions to accomplish their goals. Stimulating another towards a particular goal is not merely with pom-poms and football slogans and cheer, but rather taking time to listen to what that person is saying. Offer empathy, followed by support based on their needs. Afterwards, the only thing that I was stimulated to do was run to my mother, lay on her bosom, and at 30-something years old, cry myself to sleep. Their words gave me minimal motivation and left me empty, and with the only option to resort to what Black women know how to do, which is push through. Having a heart to push is admirable, yet it cannot be the only thing that defines you. White women for years have seen themselves as the hero and also the damsel in distress in Hollywood. Growing up, I never saw the media portray a Black woman being rescued and taken care of. I never even saw a Black woman feel comfortable enough to cry out for help. When can we cry? Feel soft and gentle, awkward, and even weird. Black women need room to make mistakes and receive support without judgment. I value being strong, but no one person is one thing. I am strong, and I also have a mental health disorder. At the tender year of 11, my father died suddenly, and his passing triggered a series of mental health issues that I would later face and suppress. To cope with the heartache, inner rage, and turmoil, I began to pull my hair directly from my scalp. To some, this can sound scary and freakish, but for me, it was a sense of release from this dark world that would send the Grim Reaper to take my father away too soon. I pulled my hair when I was anxious. I began to pull my hair when I was overwhelmed. And yet every day would walk out of the house, off to class, as if I was the most confident woman on the planet. No one knew that I was hurting. Everyone saw me as strong. After a while, I noticed patches in my head from excessive pulling and felt ashamed and defeated. Bald spots on your head are not exactly a fashion statement. As I grew older, I researched my condition and realized I had a repetitive behavior disorder called Trichotillomania. Oh, don't worry, it took me a while to say it as well. My mom taught me to cover up my mental illness with hairstyles that masked my bald spots, yet with no treatment in the form of a therapist, support group, or even a safe person to share these experiences with. I learned to cover it up and push through. Black women are strong. I'll just get over it eventually. The research with Black women and pulling is so minimal that medical experts cannot even report how many Black women have this hair pulling disorder. Yet for white men and women, studies show that 1 or 2 out of 50 people have trichotillomania. Black women do not receive the mental health treatment that they deserve due to cultural implications and a long myth that continues to spread. You know what it is, right? The myth? That Black women are only strong. We can push through at all times, but it leaves room for no error. If we continue to push through without the support from family, medical professionals, and our employers, we're going to continue to break down mentally and physically. We are in a state of emergency where the mental health of Americans is declining, and Black women and women of color are hit the hardest. Blacks are more likely to have feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and worthlessness than adult whites. Serious mental illness rose among all Black people between 2008 and 2018. It seems our strength is valued, but not our humanity. When I wrote my latest book, Success Uncensored, A High Achiever's Guide to Defining Success on Your Own Terms, I went into a state of deep depression due to the amount of pressure I was under in my coaching business, as well as the demanding book publishing deadline. When I shared my struggles with other professionals, the only words that I received were statements such as, "You're so strong. If anybody can do it, a Black woman can." She's strong. Why did my Blackness make me stronger in their eyes? Why was that trait exemplified over others? I remember working on a big corporate contract, facilitating leadership trainings, and as I shared the process with one of my white friends, her immediate response was, "Sheesh, you're so strong. Black women teach me how to get it done." I know, it sounds like a compliment, until you realize it's a pattern stemming back to colonialism and slavery, as Black women were responsible for running their own homes, feeding their own children, all while taking care of white families, assisting them with their organizational structure and child rearing. Black women are double minorities, tackling race and gender inequities, which leaves us involved in the middle of most of the injustices that our nation faces. Listen, we are not stronger by choice, but stronger by default. Because our choices in the past, if you want to know, were to choose strength or death.
Wrap the whole thing up.
I don't want you to be another professional, employer, or staff member oblivious to the trauma and pain that your fellow Black employees, partners, and friends are facing. I want to give you tips to successfully engage with a Black woman and offer support to the Black woman in times of need. We must move past exploiting our strength and transition into respecting, appreciating, and cultivating the totality of the Black woman. Implementing these diversity and inclusion principles in any work setting or community will provide the support that Black women need, as well as all people of color. In such a fast-paced society, we must slow down to see the people around us, who they are, not the
Women's mental health. When it comes to recognizing gender differences and acknowledging a male-dominant society, the plight of women's mental health is quite complicated. Those who identify as women are especially vulnerable, as they may also be dealing with unique health concerns, in addition to possible rejection from their families, discrimination, violence, and hate crimes. Women face judgments from others that are often contentious and significantly affect mental health, self-worth, and self-confidence. Problems start in adolescence. In one survey, results showed that until the age of 12, there was virtually no difference in confidence between boys and girls. But by the age of 14, the average girl was far less confident than the average boy. Generally, women's mental health tends to suffer because of low self-esteem, low self-worth, and lack of confidence that develops during their teen years and perpetuates into adulthood. As adults, women impose pressure on themselves within the community, workplace, and at home. Trying to balance multiple roles creates conflict. A lack of work-life balance can create additional stress and a higher identity cost for women. Transgender women often struggle to find housing, jobs, and financial stability as they face discrimination. The pandemic has created a situation where alarming trends are having a disproportionately negative effect on women. Professional women have been taking on increased demands to accommodate child care and homeschooling when cases are reported or an outbreak is declared. Another repercussion of the pandemic is that domestic violence and abuse, sometimes referred to as intimate partner violence, has increased by 20% during quarantine and lockdowns. The pressure of isolation, increased stress, economic woes, and joblessness, combined with a lack of helpful resources such as shelters, medical facilities, and social agencies, plus an increase in alcohol consumption, which has ties to aggression, is taking its toll.
Spaghetti.
Mm-hmm.
We get the ground beef from Aldi.
Walmart.
The worrying thing is, from what I've seen this week on social media, is that two well-respected men publicly came out and cried. One previously spoke about his mental health, spoke about having bipolar, yet two of them were mocked. This then leads to men feeling trapped and feeling like there's no other way to deal with their mental health or to overcome their mental health. And with the way society and the internet reacted to Will Smith and Kanye West, I'm not surprised that 8 out of 10 deaths by suicide in Ireland are committed by men. A worrying figure, but that's clearly backed up by the way people are treating and looking at men with mental health issues. Just to let you know, I'll go live on Twitch twice a week. Every Tuesday and Sunday from 7 p.m. we have a great community over there. We spend a lot of time just chatting, having a laugh. We also play some games together. It's a great growing community that I think is well worth trying out. All the links are below. We have a Discord channel, links are below. And also we have a men's group that meet up once a month in Dublin, promoting positive masculinity and trying to bring about real change in regards to men's mental health in Ireland. And I have a lot of respect for the lads that are in that group. Feel like they're all sound, very supportive. And if anyone's interested in joining that, let me know. The link is below. Kanye West and Will Smith crying on the internet was used for our amusement. Two men crying and breaking down was funny. I get Kanye West has had a history of saying some crazy things, but the man is clearly mentally unwell, and this was funny. So this got me thinking, what needs to change with men's mental health? So two men breaking down with their mental health has turned into an internet meme. And why is that? It's because society is at the point yet where men speaking about their mental health are breaking down with their mental health is accepted. Is it just that it was actually funny? Is it that we see men who cry as weak and vulnerable? What is it? Well, to me, there's a couple of issues with men's mental health. And it's one, how we respond to someone having a breakdown about mental health or coming out about their mental health. The main thing I feel is wrong with men's mental health is that we take it extremely serious serious. And that might be strange to some of you as being like, what? You don't want to take it serious? I don't mean it in that context. I mean it as in men's mental health is obviously a serious conversation. But I feel like we're making the conversation too serious. That it's scaring men in speaking about their mental health, in talking about it. So then it leads to these big explosions. For example, Kanye West having that bipolar episode or whatever episode it was. You can sit down and have a chat with your friends about mental health. You could be talking about sports and then it might lead into another conversation and then it might go somewhere else, but then it can come back to mental health. It doesn't have to be that you're sat down in a room, people with white coats come in and take you. It doesn't have to be that serious conversation that I feel men think it is. My next issue is what it means to be a man, because I don't think people realise there is thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of different types of men. Nobody's the same, so everyone's different. So there is not one brush fits all, and there is not one way a man should act. A lot of people look up to Kanye West and a lot of people look up to Will Smith. Yet two men who are highly respected, Kanye West probably not so much recently, but two men who are still highly respected, broke down, cried, and it was made a joke of. So how hard is it going to be for a man who isn't as respected as Kanye West, who hasn't got as much people supporting and looking out for him? And that leads me to the third point, how we view men with mental health issues. And we're still not at the point of people accepting men and mental health. I don't think men are there, but I don't think women are there either. I don't think women are as accepting of men with mental health. It just worried me, seeing all the memes, all the images, all the pictures. People literally laugh at these two men crying and breaking down. Because I know what it's like to be a man who feels alone and feels like the only person going through his own battle. And listen, I've been there. I've slagged Kanye West sometimes, especially when he was going on his Donald Trump buzz. But seeing him break down and seeing him crash and being made a mockery of, it worried me. Change needs to come, and change starts with you. Change starts with one person. Change yourself, and then change their leads to your circle around you. They could then implement change onto other people in their lives. So if there's one thing you can take from this video, stop being a bollocks, be sound, be guided by kindness, look out for your mates, and if someone needs to talk about mental health, don't laugh at them and don't scare them out of conversation. If you get any value out of this video whatsoever, please click the like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comment section what you think. Thanks.
No, that's not how she can do it in our family.
Nope.
She got like she's the queen and we're the sorry people.
No, that's all we want, all of us in our life. Take it.
Many depression sufferers have tried everything. They've tried antidepressants, sometimes 3 or 4 different kinds. They've tried traditional talk counseling. They've tried following mental health advice. They've listened to their friends and family tell them to just choose to be happy. But for many people suffering from depression, none of the above have truly helped them find lasting relief. Until now, a new form of treatment known as Tms Therapy has been clinically proven to be effective at treating depression at its source. Tms Therapy uses magnetic stimulation to reach the part of the brain that controls whether a person feels happy or sad. In fact, Tms Therapy has been proven to be effective for patients who didn't respond to traditional depression treatments. Tms Therapy can potentially help depression sufferers get off their antidepressants, which is a major plus for many patients. Transcranial magnetic stimulation is safe, FDA approved, medication-free, covered by most insurances, and has no systemic side effects. Thinking Tms Therapy may be the right choice? And want more information? Here's what you should do. Click the link below to fill out the short questionnaire to see if TMS is the right option. Most insurances cover it. There's no obligation and you'll be glad you did. Don't let another day pass. Click below now.
Do you sometimes find the fear of what could happen? I want you to know that no matter where you are in life, no matter how low you have sunk, no matter how bleak your situation, this is not the end. This is not the end of your story. This is not the final chapter of your life. I know it may be hard right now, but if you just hang there, stick it out, stay with me for a little while, you will find that this tough moment will pass, And if you are committed to using this pain, using it to build your character, finding a greater meaning for the pain, you will find that in time you can turn your life around and help others going through the same struggles. The world right now is in the middle of a mental health crisis. It's estimated almost half the population suffers from depression at some stage throughout their life. Rather than join the queue, it's important we learn why we get down and then how we can change it. Because believe it or not, we create our own negative feelings, and we can also ensure that we turn our lives around and be a positive change for others. The reason anyone gets depressed always comes down to the consistent thoughts we think and the consistent beliefs we hold. Let me say that again. The reason anyone gets depressed always comes down to the consistent thoughts we think and the consistent beliefs we hold. The point here is that anyone that is depressed is so because there is an external factor that didn't materialize in their life. They have lost something outside of their control or don't have something that is out of their control. In school, we are taught how to get a job, but no one teaches us how to live in a state of happiness. No one teaches us how important our conscious and unconscious thoughts and associations are. Is our happiness not worth more than a job? Yes, it is. And before you say happiness won't pay my bills, happiness will pay your bills. When you realize you will be 10 times more energized, focused, and take positive action in your life, when you first choose to develop yourself as a priority and then get to the stuff of the world. I've seen some people who many would consider to have it all in their life because they thought they were not good enough. A thought, a belief within them told them they were not worthy. These people that many were jealous of, many envious of, were not good enough. You must value yourself enough to take the time every single day to work on you. To engage in something that will ensure you are a positive influence on the world. This, of course, doesn't mean life will suddenly be perfect. The same life challenges will show up. But if your mind is strong, if your mind is at peace, your reaction to the challenging times will be very different. Your reaction will be, how can I make this work? Not why is this happening to me? And then others will look to you not with pity, but with hope. Because your strength will become their hope, their strength. You really can be that powerful. You can ditch the victim story. You can leave the pain behind and focus on how you will react next. How you will react positively. Read all you can read to get your mind in a positive place. Take steps to ensure you'll be in a better position next time. Whatever pain you are suffering from, how you can ensure it won't show again. Take little steps, and soon you will be at the top of the staircase. Don't give up. You are worthy. You are more than worthy. You deserve to experience how great life can be, and you owe it to the world to be that positive change for others, to inspire others who will look to you and say, he did it, she did it, and I can do it too.
This event is for people that want to get rid.
Okay, we took that time. Don't panic, SpongeBob. Panic is the enemy. You are strong. Through your strength, you shall overcome. You're own pal. We're all up there. Everything looks great.
I've been there a lot. Especially before my car accident in my teenage years. Then I learned a lot of big breakup, and that like sent me down depression and suicide plan. And it's tough to dispense advice to people other than me. I'll share why. Because at that time in my life, I had somebody come up to me, my friends would come to my dorm room, like, let's go do something. And the hope is lost. And what people, I think, make the mistake of trying to hype people up. Everything's gonna be okay, it's gonna be great. The most important thing is you are super down. Outside of finding that emotional reason for where you are, start getting momentum. Because with momentum, there's hope. With motivation, momentum comes that feeling that there's a reason for it. And so it's as simple as just saying, okay, what are 3 things I'm gonna do? Dude, sometimes that first goal is, I'm in the shower. I'm going to the shower. I want to walk my right. I'm going to come home. That's all we got. That's all we got. You gotta honor that struggle. You're in that place, like know where you're at. You're there. Now you help, and now you set up some daily practices just every day, win a little bit. Not like win your dreams, not like crush your goals, not like be badass, not like, no. Momentum. Gloomy and bad, dark days, trust that those are going to be there. They'll get less and less and less as you learn how to cope. But they're going to be there. And so when they're there, it's going to be right. Outside of teaching people to bring the joy in my life, I teach people to honor the struggle. Honor the difficulty. When we honor the struggle instead of hate the struggle, we can really achieve extraordinary things because our mindset's in the right place.
In your hands, this very moment is your journey. The journey that allows you to be someone fueled by your potential. Take the risks that allow you to become something more, that allow you to change your view on life, that allow you to look through a different pair of eyes, one that grants you the power to see something and to know how to change it, to look at life as an opportunity to feel like somebody new, someone with the potential to keep moving forward.
Right now, 20% of old people in the community and 40% of those in care homes will have depression. However, many go undiagnosed and many more untreated. But young or old, with the right interventions, you can reduce the risk factors that lead to depression, and it can be treated.
After I lost John, cooking for once seemed pointless. The garden got overgrown. I didn't hoover. Sometimes didn't wash. I'd be in bed a lot. I couldn't sleep though. I just worried. I didn't read. Even the TV and radio was too much at times.
Depression can present in many ways, not just feeling low. This means older people may not realize they are depressed. They may experience loss of interest in life, tiredness, low appetite, constipation, pain, or poor sleep. Older people can feel worried, become confused and forgetful. They can lose confidence or feel like a burden. In severe cases, they may think about ending their life.
I liked to be active, but stopped because of arthritis. I didn't go out. Some days I didn't speak to anyone. Most of my friends had passed out. I didn't like to bother my daughter.
Loneliness, bereavement, long-term illness, being in care and hospitalization are risk factors for developing depression. Having a history of mental health problems like dementia can play a role, as can excessive drinking and fuel poverty. This means that depression in later life is common, but it isn't inevitable.
I had a fall and needed a hip operation. I was in hospital after that. My physio said to get out of bed every day, but I didn't. I had a lot of pain. People came round, but I felt so guilty that somehow I was a bad person for causing trouble. They worried I wouldn't cope at home and would need 24-hour care.
Depression can increase the risk of developing other illnesses and can predict the quality of outcomes for hip fractures, strokes, and even heart attacks. It can be hard to spot in older people because the physical symptoms of depression may be put down to other long-term conditions. Older people may also worry about the stigma of having depression, so may not even seek help.
I barely recognised Mum when I visited. She seemed so withdrawn. I was really worried about her. And although she was asked about pain, her breathing and other things, no one asked her how she was feeling, how she was coping with everything. I tried to visit as much as I could, but with work and my own health problems, it was so hard.
It can be difficult seeing their loved ones suffering with depression. Support for them is vital, as they are at risk of depression themselves.
Once it was recognised that Mum was depressed, she got help, and so did I. She was started on medication and was referred for talking therapy to help with her grief, as well as coming to terms with her physical health problems. Mum got a social worker too, who arranged support to help her adjust to coming out of hospital. She was put in touch with a lunch club, another community activity, so she's not so isolated. It also meant I didn't worry so much about her being on her own. With the support of the team, Mum went back to her own home.
Yes, but you still feel young inside. I still get bored or lonely sometimes. The biggest help was having something to look forward to in the week. I met some people and got out the house more. Gradually, I began to feel like me again. I can see now that I was depressed. But there are things I can do to try and prevent it happening again.
If you are concerned that someone might be suffering depression, asking two simple questions can be the first step to a further assessment, diagnosis, and treatment. Please, don't ignore depression in older people. Reducing the risk factors can help prevent it. Depression in old age is not inevitable, and it can be treated. So ask the questions. Start the conversation. See the person, not their age.
Mini depression
or four different kinds.
They
I think I've got the blues. I just don't feel like myself these days. And I just lost interest and pleasure in doing the things I used to do, like walking, visiting with my children. I just don't even feel like getting out of bed some days.
And I even went to my doctor,
and they ran tests.
They didn't find anything,
but
something's wrong.
Hello, I'm Dr. Susanna Waters Castillo, Director of the Mental Health and Older Adult Certificate Series.
And if you're a professional
and you hear statements like this from an older adult, it may warrant geriatric depression screening. I'd like to share 3 points that are very important about geriatric depression. First of all, depression in late life is not a normal part of the aging process. However, there are myths and misconceptions about growing old and mental health or mental illness. And these misconceptions are held by providers as well as older adults. And this has resulted in untreatment and mistreatment and much distress for the older person. Secondly, geriatric depression is a medical illness. It is not due to a moral flaw or any type of social mistakes that an individual may have made in their life. It is very important for providers to understand the relationship between chronic conditions in aging and depression, because these chronic conditions can mask the depression itself. Third, geriatric depression is very treatable. The Centers for Disease Control indicate that up to 80% of the individuals treated effectively will result in positive outcomes. And these effective treatments include evidence-based screening with the PHQ-9 or the Geriatric Depression Scale, and using evidence-based treatment modalities such as cognitive behavioral therapies and/or antidepressants. So if you're interested as a professional in learning more about effective screening and treatment of older adults with mental illness, please see our website for the Mental Health and Older Adult Certificate Series. Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was just the rebroadcast of the Love Ministry webinar yesterday, and it had a lot of technical difficulties, copyright issues, but today it's done, it's finished. You can always watch the replay of that. There's links at the bottom of this live, and you can also watch it on YouTube as well. I didn't say very much. I just wanted you to watch all the content and kind of get a lot of information and things and whatnot. So everyone have an amazing and blessed Friday, and I will see you back here on Sunday at 9 a.m. with Sunday service. Have a special presentation for Memorial Day, and then we get right into Sunday service at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a blessed Friday. I love you. Take care of yourself. Keep each other in prayer. This is Minister Johnson signing off.